Majestic debut. King. The Land K-drama Episode 1 review and synopsis. In the first episode of King the Land, the King Hotel is searching for new trainees in 2015. However, all the people who apply don't seem very qualified. The interview panel is even more surprised when they meet Cheon Sa-rang. She doesn't have a bachelor's degree, and she plays the piano. One of her shoes is also broken, but she's in a good mood. They ask her to play something, but there's no piano in the room. So, she pretends to play the piano in the air. When they ask her to smile, she gives a big, toothy grin. It switches to a scene where she appears unhappy as her friends or roommates playfully make fun of her. Her group of friends includes Pyong-hwa, who is very practical, and Da-eul, who is a dreamer when it comes to love. To make Sa-rang feel better, they convince her to go dancing at a club, even though she wasn't initially interested. Eventually, they all have a great time dancing. The next day, Sa-rang, feeling the effects of a hangover, is awakened by a phone call that brings good news. She has secured the internship. In the beginning, the main male character, Ji-won, makes a flashy entrance on his first day as an intern at his own hotel. He surprises everyone by skydiving in. But, he's been hiding his true identity because he was in the UK before this. His boss, Choi Tae-man, isn't too happy about his fancy clothes and the way he acts like a rich person. Ji-won's coworker, No Sang-sik, tries to help him fit in, but Ji-won doesn't really get why he should act less important. One day, Sang-sik was given a job to make copies, but the copying machine wasn't working properly. Sang-sik tried to fix it, and Choi suggested shaking the toner. Unfortunately, the toner broke, and ink spilled everywhere. Their boss was really angry. Ji-won didn't want to say sorry and was fired from his job. He decided to call Director Choi, who works for the chairman, to get some people to clean up the mess and a new copying machine. The boss figures out he's Chairman Goo's son, says sorry, and manager Choi stops talking. The boss gets mad that Ji-won is leaving and blames Sang-sik. Ji-won then offers Sang-sik a permanent job, which makes Sang-sik happy. Chairman Ji-won is furious as he wanted Ji-won to start from the bottom and work his way up. The panel lady who had interviewed Sa-rang turns out to be Ji-won's older sister. Ji-won ran and defends him when he irks their father by saying he will go back to the UK. But when they speak in secret, it becomes clear that Hwa-ran and Won don't get along. She tells him she'll help him as long as he stays away from the house and company. She sends him to a hotel and says he should leave the next day. Inside, the chairman is waiting for Won with dinner and is mad because he thinks his son has left without telling him. Our cheerful Sa-rang is thrilled about her first day as a trainee. She remembers her childhood when she stayed at the King Hotel with her family and was amazed by how grand it was. During her training, they tell her to treat the guests like kings and to always smile, using the word, Hermes. Sa-rang is put to work in the fitness center, and some of her coworkers, including manager Kim Soo-mi, don't think much of her because she's just a temporary employee for a month. She has to clean everything in the changing room and wipe down the workout equipment because her coworker, Park Bo-yeon, believes she's superior just because she's a full-time employee. Likewise, the senior flight attendant is unkind to Pyong-hwa. And at the airport's fancy store, Da-eul is mistreated by her boss. Sang-sik is doing well as he goes to Ji-won's fancy apartment to shop. He buys 2 out of 3 shirts with a tiger design. When Sang-sik thinks one of the shirts is a gift for him, Ji-won says he's keeping both because he doesn't like it when others wear the same thing as him. However, Ji-won keeps his word and gives Sang-sik a full-time job. There's a little twist here. They have to go live in the UK in a week. Sang-sik hurries to get a passport. While he's busy, manager Kim Soo-mi approaches him and offers her help if he ever needs anything. Sang-sik, feeling a bit confused, agrees. When he leaves, Soo-mi is quite impressed by his friendly and relaxed demeanor. Here's the surprise. She mistook him for Ji-won because she saw him coming out of the fancy penthouse suite. In the gym, there's a guy wearing a tiger shirt. He's acting silly, trying to show off to Sa-rang, who's cleaning up his sweaty mess. Bo-yeon tells him to be quiet, but he says he's not interested in her, he likes Sa-rang. He gave a letter and his keycard to Bo Yian as he was leaving. While leaving, Gu-won came in wearing a tiger shirt to exercise. Sa Rang, who didn't recognize Gu-won's face, saw him in the same shirt and got angry. Gu-won didn't pay attention to her and started using the treadmill. Sa Rang made the treadmill go faster until he fell down. She called him a pervert, threw the letter at him, and then walked away in a huff. As he yells for her, Hua Ran shows up and asks him to go away. He reminds her that he's just a visitor and the hotel isn't hers yet, then walks away. Su Mi is shocked to see Hua Ran and wants to go with her when they notice Sa Rang. Sa Rang thanks her nicely, and Hua Ran asks her questions about things she hasn't learned as a trainee. She easily responds in both English and Korean while smiling. Because of this, she gets promoted to the lobby and her internship is extended to 1 year, which makes Su Mi annoyed. Su Mi tries to find a flaw, but she can't because Sa Rang can also speak Chinese and Japanese. Gu-won is feeling sad as he stares at a broken watch, thinking about calling his dad. Hua Ran shows up and reminds him that he needs to leave the place. She says he doesn't have to call their dad and suggests he should go live in the UK for a while. Gu-won tells her not to be concerned and walks away. As he leaves, he walks past Sa Rang, who is smiling. They both don't notice each other as they gaze at the hotel with a sense of longing. At home, Sa Rang's roommates are happy and talk about what they want to achieve in the future. Sa Rang doesn't have big dreams, she just hopes that her coworkers won't bother her at work. But she forgets about her worries when they all go out to party. As the years go by, Sa Rang becomes really liked at the King Hotel, and she even gets an award for working hard. Da Eul gets married, while Sa Rang starts dating and gets a full-time job. Gu-won spends a lot of time alone in the streets of London but eventually finishes school. Today, Gu-won receives a strange package with only his name written in Korean. He looks serious as the package contains information about a person named Han Mi-so. Without wasting time, he tells Sang-sik that they have to go back to South Korea. Sang-sik isn't too happy because his parents are visiting, but he agrees because he promised to be with Gu-won always. While they were at the King Hotel, Su Mi surprises Sa Rang by saying there's a problem with a wake-up call for a guest. However, it's not a complaint at all. The guest happens to be an Italian singer, and she's actually really happy that Sa Rang recognized her and used her music as an alarm. In the story, Gus, short for Gu family members, have a bit of a tense meeting. Chairman Gu tells one to return to South Korea, and Hua Ran tries to convince him not to. However, to her disappointment, Gu-won says he'll work at the hotel, which makes his father very happy. He wants to compete with his sister, which worries Hua Ran. The chairman says he'll only pick the one who's best at the job as his successor, or he might choose someone else altogether. He said one should come back home before their mom's memorial. One asked, which mom? Then, they found out they are half-siblings, and one doesn't even know if his mom is alive. His dad just said, come home, and walked away. Hua Ran said he's as daring as his mom. Gu-won walked away in the rain, and Sang-sik followed him. Gu-won wanted to be alone, but Sang-sik told him that he was his only friend. Sang-sik tried to make Gu-won feel better by joking about whether he would become a senior and look after Gu-won. They playfully argued but eventually decided to go to the hotel together. While the friends are having some drinks, Sa Rang isn't feeling well because her stomach hurts. They figure out that she might be fed up with her boyfriend. Then, Da Eul's daughter advises them not to drink too much, especially in a public place like the food court, because it might harm her reputation. Suddenly, the playground starts playing the Baby Shark song, and the three friends begin dancing on the trampolines, while Da Eul's daughter feels embarrassed. The following day, one gets prepared for his first day as the head manager. He really doesn't like people who pretend to be happy when they're not, and Sang-sik tells him not to worry because the hotel will eventually belong to him. This makes one a bit irritated by Sang-sik's confidence, and they start teasing each other once more. However, one forgets to take his phone with him, and Sang-sik offers to go back and get it for him. As one is about to leave, he suddenly remembers that he also left behind some important papers needed for the meeting. At that time, Su Mi received a phone call and asked Sa Rang to grab one's phone. However, Sa Rang suddenly had a very bad stomachache and urgently needed to use the bathroom. She hurried to the bathroom and couldn't hold it in any longer, so she used the toilet. While in there, she noticed a remote control for the glass walls that make them not see-through. While she's using the restroom, one walks into the room to grab some documents. He sees some movement in the bathroom and decides to take a look. Right then, Sa Rang turns off the remote control and makes eye contact with Gu-1 through the glass walls, which startles her, causing her to scream.